Have you ever found yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media just to realize that you wasted your freaking whole day just to look at stupid TikToks? Or maybe you often feel stuck, or like you're running on a hamster wheel, constantly chasing that instant gratification or dopamine, but you're never truly satisfied. And if that sounds like you might be experiencing dopamine overload. So today we're going to be talking about this dopamine overload, this buzzing word, how to perform this dopamine detox, and why everyone needs that, why I need that definitely, and why you need it as well. So if you're tired of chasing that happiness, but you never feel satisfied or fulfilled, and you're ready to break the cycle, you're ready to break free from instant gratification, keep watching. Welcome back to my channel. For anyone new here, I'm Justina. I'm an occupational psychologist and empowerment coach. And this channel is all about self-improvement, about optimization of your physical and mental health, and everything and anything connected to neuroscience and psychology. And today we're talking about a common misconception, the difference between pleasure and happiness. Many of us mistake the two, thinking that pleasure will lead to happiness, or happiness needs to feel like pleasure. But today we'll discover that there is actually more to it. So first, let's clarify the difference between pleasure and happiness. So pleasure is a short-term feeling. Usually it's caused by external factors, and it is connected with instant, immediate gratification. It's the rush when you're eating your favorite food, or you've been craving chocolate for such a long time and you finally get to eat it. Or the moment when you win the game, when your parcel with the things that you ordered finally arrived, or when somebody just gave you a compliment. And happiness, on the other hand, is about long-term feeling. It's about overall great well-being. And it's not dependent on any immediate circumstances. It's more the overall satisfaction of your life. So sometimes this happiness is actually hard to catch, because certain things might be not that obvious, and it's all about your summary of the good things that are happening in your life right now, and they happened before, and the things that are coming your way. So as you see, happiness is a long-term goal. It's basically a journey of life. So sometimes you might keep waiting for it, and we don't like to wait nowadays. We want to have everything right now. That's why the dopamine is so addictive. That's why we crave this dopamine every single day, because we want to feel happy, or we want to feel good every single day. And the easiest thing, the simplest and the quickest one, is to go for the activities that will cause this dopamine release, because dopamine is connected with pleasure. And we created this perfect society for people who want to have this quick access to dopamine. You can eat your favorite food whenever you want. You can socialize with people, drink alcohol, or scroll through social media, or maybe Netflix binge all night. It is so easy. It's actually the easiest that has ever been before. The comfort and the access of these facilities is basically incomparable. It's beyond. So once you engage in those activities, it's so easy to repeat them. And the more you repeat, the more you establish the pathways of this habit, and then you keep on repeating it. You keep on seeking the pleasure that you got in the first place. And in this moment, you might be thinking, okay, but whatever, you know, everyone needs a pleasure in their lives. And I guess people do need it, but this pleasure, if it's out of control, it can really interfere with your long-term goals. Because innocent scrolling through social media might seem well, innocent. Until you start doing it every single day for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 hours per day, and then you don't know how those days are just disappearing and why you're not moving forward towards, well, anything, because you have no long-term goals. And unfortunately, people need sense of purpose in their lives, because then what's the reason you are alive and you're not really enjoying and appreciating the moment that you are living your one life? So that's why this dopamine overload is a problem. This is where the problem lies. The immediate pleasure from dopamine releasing activities can interfere with our ability to focus or to even execute certain other activities that will get you closer to your goals. For example, you might choose to watch another Netflix episode in the night instead of going to sleep to get a good night's sleep to be productive the next morning. Or you're choosing that Netflix show instead of studying for an exam or spending some time with family. Then imagine the next morning you're tired and you just can't be bothered to go for a run or to the gym to exercise. So what do? You just scroll mindlessly through social media. And social media is actually designed to be engaging, to keep you there for hours. And they're doing a pretty good job, because I can say that it is pretty addictive. Once you start scrolling, and then everything, of course, is personalized to you, then you find a lot of cool stuff there. And it is really a never-ending story. But as those choices gives us the immediate pleasure, they can really hinder our goals, but also our long-term success and long-term happiness. Because one day you will just wake up in the place that you didn't want to be, and you will wonder, what happened there? Where did I waste all my time, all my life? And I'll tell you where. In all those dopamine releasing activities that kept you occupied, because you were seeking pleasure all the time. But don't get me wrong, everyone loves Netflix or HBO or whatever you're into, or maybe just scrolling through social media or doing other things like eating comfort food. I believe that we need a balance, or doing those type of activities from time to time, but I'm talking about the situation when those activities are literally out of control. When you're choosing everything else connected with dopamine, connected with pleasure, instead of doing your basic responsibilities or the things that you really want to do. If you are just motivated by getting pleasure from your life, this is the moment when you should realize that you will not get anywhere far with this in order to achieve your goals. Because as the saying says, good things take time, and you need to think more long term rather than short term. You can think short term and long term, but just limiting yourself to short term or long term, it's really not a good idea. So if you feel like you're being stuck in your life and you're just not motivated to do absolutely anything, and you do stuff like just looking at your screen mindlessly and scroll, or just binge watch episodes of some show that you're literally not even interested in, but you don't really feel like you have energy to do anything else, that might be a sign that you have this dopamine overload and you need a detox. And detox will definitely allow you to restart this reward system, so then you can realize that there is more to life, but also that the pleasure doesn't really give you the long-term happiness. And as I said multiple times in my previous videos, brain is amazing and it's really plastic. And when I say that we can restart our reward system, I really mean it, because you can rewire whatever connections in your brain are well established to create other connections that will serve you more and will serve your goals. Just to know, dopamine detox is not really anything established scientifically or evidence-based approach. It's more a technique to start focusing on something else, on something that will help you to release more serotonin, the hormone of happiness. So then you do feel good, but you feel good long term, not immediately, and then it's nothing and you need to keep on seeking it. It's more steady process, but it is all worth it. So to start this dopamine detox, you need to find a purpose. You need to understand your goals before you start. What's the reason you feel like you need this dopamine detox? What's the reason this dopamine overload is bothering you? How does it affect you and people in your life, or perhaps the things that you really want to do? Maybe you're trying to break a specific habit, like going to sleep super late, so then you can stop feeling tired finally in the morning. Maybe you want to improve your focus and stop being distracted by everything around, so then you can get your job done faster. Or maybe, which is probably the greatest feeling in life, is that you will finally feel that you have control over your life. Maybe you want to regain that control. Having a clear goal, why you're doing that, why you're going ahead with this dopamine detox, will help you to stay motivated throughout the process and really know what all of this is worth. Then you need to prepare before we go ahead with this dopamine detox. You need to identify what are your dopamine triggering activities. This could be basically anything that you're doing to get this quick hit of dopamine, like scrolling through social media, playing a video game, browsing the internet, eating junk food, watching TV, or for example, what I tend to do is online shopping and waiting for all the parcels to arrive. And once you know what kind of activities are your go-to activities when you want to have that hit of dopamine, you want to be conscious when you start thinking about it. When do you decide that, yes, let's do it? In those moments, for a reason, you're seeking the pleasure. And once you identify those dopamine releasing activities and you know what triggers them, we come to execution of your plan. And you want to start your plan with avoiding layering those dopamine releasing activities at the same time. So when you see that you're already online shopping, don't come for a cookie. Don't choose a junk food because it's a double dopamine releasing activity. So at the beginning, when you're seeking dopamine, stick with one thing at a time. We want to approach this dopamine detox mindfully and consciously. Otherwise, the change will not occur. Then you want to limit certain substances that might stimulate the release of dopamine, like caffeine and sugar. Try to limit those during your detox. And then once you limit your sugar intake and caffeine intake and you only go for one dopamine releasing activity, when you still do that, be mindful. Why did you choose to go for it? What's happening? What's the reason you're seeking dopamine? And you need to be a little bit reflective. So when you're choosing the dopamine releasing activities, we want to make them a little bit less accessible. So if you have tendency to scroll through social media on your phone, put your phone a little bit farther than usual. So when you are seeking it or when you're going for that phone, you do have time to think about, is it worth it? What's happening with me? What's the reason I need to scroll through social media? We want to make those activities a little bit harder for you, so then you have a lot of time for this inner dialogue whether you really want it and whether it's a good decision. So another example would be that you have tendency to eat junk food or eat a lot of sugar. So if you get rid of all the sugar from your house and you crave sugar and you want to get some sugar, you would need to leave the house and actually go to the shop. And sometimes you might decide not to do it because you can't be bothered, or sometimes you will still do it, but it will be much harder for you to do that than just reaching out for the cookies that are laying in the cupboard, because you need to actually get out, go to the shop and buy them. So it actually gives you a lot of time to persuade you not to do this, or maybe to create this inner dialogue whether it is all worth it or why am I doing this? And then after all those activities, we want to introduce more serotonin releasing activities into your life, so you don't really feel like you're missing something. And those activities would be, of course, the ones that are healthier ones, like journaling your thoughts. Whenever you feel like you just need dopamine, just put it in writing and analyze whatever is happening with you, and analyze where is this coming from, and analyze your emotions. Or you can go for a walk in the nature. Walk outside, around your block. Actually, walking improves your mood, so once you come back, you might just stop thinking about doing all those dopamine triggering activities. Or you can go for a run, exercise, socialize with people, like in real life, not online or not through text. Just see them in person. Or read a book, or spend some time with your cat or a dog. There are so many things that you can do, so you don't have to limit yourself to the ones that you don't like necessarily. And you also don't have to limit yourself to just scrolling through social media all day. Once you go through that dopamine detox, you will realize that there is more to life than just dopamine. This is literally just one hormone of many more. You can actually gradually reintroduce certain activities in your life that are dopamine releasing activities, but mindfully, really analyzing and reflecting whether those activities are hindering your long-term goals or actually could be quite aligning with your goals, or maybe they just don't interfere that much with them, so you can keep on doing them from time to time. Because in conclusion, it's crucial to understand that there is the difference between pleasure and happiness, and we can have them both. But pleasure, as long as it doesn't interfere with our long-term goals and it doesn't make you distracted from something that really matters to you. So by this dopamine detox, you can really look at your life from a different perspective and realize that there is more to life than just social media, for example, or just cookies and shopping online, but actually that we can make our own conscious choices, and we can finally shift our focus from immediate pleasure to long-term happiness and satisfaction, because who wouldn't like to be happy? But you're not going to get happiness, fulfillment and life satisfaction from immediate instant gratification. There is no way. This is just a distraction. But I'm curious what you think, and what is your dopamine releasing activity that you do very often? As I mentioned, mine is probably online shopping and waiting for a parcel to arrive. So share your guilty pleasure activity in the comments down below. And don't forget to share your journey if you are starting your dopamine detox. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, not to miss my next videos about overall great mental and physical health. And I'll see you in the next video.